Have you ever wondered why you act the way you do, or why certain situations trigger particular emotions in you? Today, we delve into the intriguing world of psychoanalysis with Karen Horney's seminal work, Self-Analysis. This book is a compelling exploration of the human mind, offering tools and insights for the reader to understand their own psyche better. Horney, a pioneer in her field, encourages us to embark on a journey of self-discovery, using psychoanalysis as our compass. Self-analysis is not just a book, but a mirror that reflects our thought patterns, emotions, and behaviors. It takes us on a deep dive into our subconscious, illuminating the hidden corners of our minds. The premise of the book rests on the idea that understanding ourselves is the first step towards personal growth and change. So, are you ready to uncover the mysteries of your mind? Dive into the depths of your psyche as we explore the main points from Karen Horney's book, Self-Analysis. So, what are these tools that Horney presents in her book for better understanding ourselves? Let's dive into the key points she puts forth. First off, Horney suggests that neuroses, those psychological issues we grapple with, are essentially defense mechanisms against anxiety. It's a fascinating perspective, isn't it? Instead of viewing neuroses as disorders or conditions, she frames them as protective measures that our minds take to shield us from distress. It's a more compassionate and nuanced view of psychological struggles. Now, moving on to the second key point, the importance of self-awareness in personal growth. Horney posits that gaining a deeper understanding of ourselves is a critical step in overcoming our fears and anxieties. It's about acknowledging our feelings, our reactions, and our coping mechanisms. By doing so, we can identify patterns and triggers and work towards changing them. It's all about turning the lens inward. And lastly, Horney introduces the concept of the real self versus the ideal self. The real self, she says, is who we truly are, with all our strengths and weaknesses, quirks and foibles. The ideal self, on the other hand, is the version of ourselves we aspire to be, often influenced by societal expectations or personal pressures. The gap between these two selves can cause significant distress. But by recognizing and accepting our real self, we can reduce this gap and foster a healthier self-image. Now, these may seem like abstract concepts, but Horney does a remarkable job of grounding them in reality. She uses relatable examples and case studies to illustrate these ideas, making them accessible and applicable to our everyday lives. These concepts are not just theoretical, they have real-life applications, which Horney illustrates through examples in her book. It's one thing to understand these concepts, but how do they apply to our everyday lives? Let's dive into some examples that illustrate the key points in Karen Horney's Self-Analysis. Imagine a person who has an intense fear of rejection. They may end up avoiding social situations or potential romantic relationships to protect themselves. This is an example of self-sabotaging behavior, where the fear of getting hurt leads to self-isolation, ultimately denying oneself the joy of connection. Now, consider another scenario. A person sets unrealistic expectations for themselves, maybe striving for perfection in every task they undertake. When they inevitably fail to meet these impossible standards, they experience anxiety and disappointment. This can lead to a cycle of self-doubt and lowered self-esteem, affecting their overall mental health. These are just a couple of examples of how the principles laid out in self-analysis can manifest in real life. As you can see, these ideas have profound implications for how we understand ourselves and our behaviors. So, what can we take away from Horney's book, Self-Analysis? Horney's profound insights illuminate the path to personal growth. At the heart of her teachings is the crucial role of self-awareness. She champions the idea that by recognizing and understanding our anxieties, we hold the power to overcome them. This understanding is not a mere intellectual exercise, but a transformative journey of self-discovery. Moreover, Horney introduces the concept of the real self, a true and authentic version of ourselves, often buried beneath layers of societal expectations and personal insecurities. This real self is not a static entity, but rather an ever-evolving blueprint of who we can become. Striving to align with this real self is a lifelong endeavor, a continuous process of growth and self-improvement. By understanding these concepts, we can become more self-aware and make progress towards becoming our authentic selves. As Karen Horney puts it, man needs to know himself as he is and the direction in which he should grow. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.